We're here. Happy. A lot of people are thinking so. That we, but
You are muted.
oh, am I?
Now you're
Okay.
unmuted.
Thank you for telling us we're muted. So we achieved 13% of this really, really big goal that we set for this year. Really big goal, and achieved this goal before, but I was saying earlier, we shortened the timeline on this goal. And we're like, let's see if we can do it in a year. And we got 13% of it in a year, which taught us a lot of things. And here's the number one thing I want to leave with you. I'm going to get into podcast recording in just a second. That's why we're going live, is we're actually recording some episodes of our podcast. But before I do that, just thinking about it being New Year's Eve, I want to just bring up to mind something that I'm thinking about, I'm sure you're thinking about too, is what do I want this next year to look like? Because we're at a milestone right now. We're at the end of a year, and we're thinking, what did I do this year? Did I accomplish what I set out to do? Did I set out New Year's resolutions? Did I call New Year's resolutions dumb because I didn't actually do them? A lot of people say, oh, I don't believe in goal setting. It's because they don't stick to their goals. So many people are like, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions because they don't care to remember them. They don't care to track them. They don't care to write them down. So they're like, I don't believe in that. I'm above that. Whatever. It's just you didn't do it. You didn't stick to it. So it's not that you're better than the goal. It's just that you need to stick to your action steps. You need to work on something every single day. And a New Year's resolution stays a goal. It stays a resolution unless you make a plan. You have to do something every day that gets you traction toward it. So with us achieving 13% of our goal, we have every feeling this next year, every plan for this next year to 10x it, because we only achieved 13%. We now have 77% of experience. Whatever percentage you don't achieve in your goal is the tuition you pay to try it again. It's the education. That's the gap. If you're hustling and grinding for your goal, plan to fall on your face, because that's the price to pay to getting the goal the next time you try. So if, let's just say that your goal was $1 million in your business, right? Your goal is $1 million in your business. You got $130,000 in your business, like us this year. The first year in business, we got $130,000. That means that we paid $770,000 in tuition. Whatever the gap is between where you started and your goal, whatever part you didn't get, that's the price you pay to get it next time. So keep that in mind. Whatever you didn't get this year that you wanted, you paid a tuition to learn a lesson so that you can get it next time. So that's what I want to leave you with today. So we're going to jump into, oh, by the way, Richard's moderating the comments. So if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, where else are we live? Are we on Twitch? We're live on Twitch. Hello, Twitchers. That's all I can think of when I think of Twitchers. So Richard's moderating the comments. So as you see something you like or that you disagree with, let me know. Show up in the comments. Say, hey, let me know where you're from. We're going to get into some podcast episodes recording. Also, by the way, we have a goal setting webinar going on for you. We're going to be able to network with you. I want you to network with other people. This webinar has two goals. Number one, help you design a plan to help you get your goals for 2025. But number two, connect you with other people that might be able to help you get that goal. It's a networking goal setting events happening January 2nd. That's in a little more than 24 hours. So a day or two, half a day, day and a half. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Mountain. If you want to come to that, Richard's dropping the link in the chat right now. So join that. It's free. We're going to hang out a little bit. And maybe for some of you, you want to join our daily accountability call because of that and actually get some traction toward what you want out of 2025. But even if you don't, I want you to come hang out and network with other people who are goal-oriented people. So check that out. The links are in the comments. It might be in the comments after this video ends as well. Okay, sweet. Oh, we're on YouTube as well. Hey, YouTubers, my OGs. Shout out to you if you are on YouTube. We started our YouTube channel almost a decade ago Back when I had short blonde pixie hair, if you watch some of my OG content, you're going to see an older or younger version of me, but older content. And that was our first piece of like real traction on social media was our YouTube channel. Right now we have 44,000 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you for being part of our universe. Thank you for being part of our network. And genuinely, look at my eyes. Thank you for watching because every view that we get gives us motivation to do the next video. And we really help. We love your comments. And the reason we love your comments is because that tells us that we're on the right track in our mission to help people. So leave some comments. Tell us where we're at. Okay. We want to get to our podcast episode right now. We are going to be filming podcast episode number 81. And in our podcast, we have a main series, which is my interview series that we publish every Sunday. And we just published a really cool recap for 2024 that Richard and I gave some stats for our business and for our family. I listed my list of personal rules on there, shout out to some wins from some of the members of our community. And that publishes every Sunday. And then multiple times during the week, honestly, the last couple of weeks, we haven't filmed as much because we've been where we're supposed to be with our family. So we typically release multiple episodes throughout the week called Talk Tips. This is going to be Talk Tip number 35. We're speaking on how to make money from stage. Today, we're going to be talking about virtual stages. And then occasionally I drop a bonus episode with my friend Heather. I need to get together with her. She has a message out to me and I need to get back to her with the time that we can get together. That is exceedingly rare. It's a mini sub-series and it's just, I consider it comedy because we have such a hilarious time together. But it's just whatever comes out of our mouths in the moment. So if you want to subscribe to our podcast, you can do so on your favorite platform. We're on YouTube as a video platform. But I'm going to talk a lot about that today in terms of this talk tip number 35. So Rich, do you want me to film an intro separately or do you want me to just pineapple it in or what do you want to do? Okay, live friends. You're valid. You're here, but we're going to pretend that we're not for a second. Okay, awesome. Does that cut the live stream or no? Okay, beautiful. Hey, welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. This is Talk Tips number 35. And in this talk tip, we're going to be talking about the booming industry of virtual stages and how you can get more of them. Check it out. Good? Okay, awesome. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I love watching this new show. It's called 1883. It's about the frontier and settling the Wild West. It's a hark back to like the Oregon Trail game we always used to play as kids. And you know what? The reason that I'm thinking about that right now is because there's a new frontier in public speaking called virtual stages. Now, there's lots of summits being released. There's Zoom calls being released. And this really started when the pandemic hit us all and we were banned from going outside and we couldn't go to live events. Man, I went to, I was a investor. No, I don't want to say that. Let's see. How do I want to speak to that? I did a lot of live events at a big event center. And that was one of the biggest parts of our business model is live events. We did them as often as every 2 weeks at different event centers all around Utah County. We even traveled abroad to go to events in multiple different countries. I've spoken on stage in 17 different countries where we ran events or mini events or retreats or whatever the case may be. And then 2020 smacked us in the face. And we were said, gosh, we can't do live events. It's a super spreader. Remember that term? You can't do live events. But speakers in our industry, business owners, we all wanted to keep speaking. We all wanted to keep delivering messages. And even as consumers, we want to keep going to events. We want to keep networking with people. And what did that turn into? It turned into a digital stage. And if you're a speaker and you want to get into the speaking industry, you cannot deny the power of virtual and digital stages right now. It has stayed with us. It has helped us to get on more stages. It's empowered us to connect with more people. It's enabled us to connect on a worldwide scale. And I want to share with you today some talk tips on how to not only get more virtual stages, but how to help them make you some money. So let's get right into it. Okay, go back up. I wasn't quite done with that. Okay, go down to, okay. Good. Okay, there. Oh, wait. Not done. Stay right there. Nope, up. There. Thank you. Okay, so when I first started speaking on virtual stages, I don't think I realized I was doing it. I was co-hosting some webinars with another influencer at the time. And this year, in 2024, the beginning of 2024, the boot finally kicked me in the butt, if you will. I had thought about starting a podcast for quite quite a while actually, but I didn't feel like I was ready and I didn't feel like I had the right equipment. I didn't feel like blah, blah, blah. All these excuses that I'm used to talking out of other people were hitting me. And then finally I went to my buddy's house and I was chatting there with some friends and someone just told me, it was Jeff, thank you. He said, why don't you just go home and start your podcast? And you know what? When you get called on the carpet like that, I looked at Richard and he looked back at me and we're like, shoot, okay, let's just do this. We sat down in the best studio, quote unquote, that we could find, which was like a blank wall in our room. We set up our phones. I think we had maybe some extra mics that we had traveled with. It was like a little lavalier mic. And we just started recording. Very, very first episode, almost a year ago now. And then we looked at each other, we're like, that was kind of fun. Maybe we could do that again. And then we did another one. And now I have this platform, this podcast, and I start thinking, okay, I'm going to need to start getting some guests on here. And then Richard, the data genius that he is, he starts going and doing some research in this area. And he finds out one quote by Alex Ramosi that says, if you can get past episode 20 in your podcast, you can actually be represented in the top 1% of podcasters, because most podcasters will give up after, or before rather, 20 episodes. And we have seen this happen in real life. And here's why. You record your first podcast episode and you're like, yeah, I'm an expert in my industry. I know all these things. I could speak to this for a long time. And you can go on for maybe an hour and 20 minutes. And you're like, great, that was a great episode. Let's do it again. And then your next episode, you do it monologue, you do it solo. And you're like, oh, okay, I got like 40 minutes of content now. That's still good. That's still a good episode. I can get that out there. Awesome. And then you do your next episode and you're like, I'm kind of feeling like I'm running out of things to talk about. That was only a 20-minute episode. I'm not sure if I can publish that one. And if you do it that way, your podcast is going to bite the dust. It's gonna die because you lose steam. So when Richard started doing all this research and all this data on it, we're like, okay, immediately we need to start getting guests on this show. We need to start asking people to be a guest on our podcast and interview them. Now, did we know exactly the direction that we wanted to head? Well, we thought we did. And we started heading in that direction. And as we filmed more episodes, we learned more about our audience. We learned more about the kinds of guests that we wanted to have on the show. And shout out to the earliest guests on the show who came on with us and helped us cut our teeth on our podcast. We were excited to give you the exposure, as limited as it was with the first couple of episodes. But also we were excited to see where the podcast went. When we started doing episode after episode, a few things happened. Number one, it gave us one of the best ways to network with amazing people in our industry. Big names like Keaton the Muscle and Scott Donald, which is our number one show, by the way. And then brand new people who were just up and coming who we could give a stage to. And then also the members of our community, our students. I love showcasing our students, our members on our podcast. So that's thing number one, is it gave us huge networking opportunities. Number two, when you start your podcast, it's going to give you legitimacy. You're going to have a track record of data that people can go back and look at when they're looking and researching and saying, do I want to hire this person as a mentor? Now we are 81 episodes in on our podcast with no intention of slowing down, and it has brought us so many connections and some brand new business. Wait, I'm not done. Go to 3. 3 at the top. Yeah. So I know I've been talking a lot about podcasts, but today I want to walk you, oh my gosh, let me start that over. So I know I've been talking about pineapple. So I know I've been talking a lot about podcasting, but this is just one version of a digital stage, and it's the new frontier. It's the 1883. It's the Wild West of digital stages right now, which means it's time for you to get in on this. Okay, go to the next bullet point at the top. Go ahead and put the number 1 at the top. Thanks. Okay, so first of all, what is a virtual stage? What's a digital stage? Well, let me give you some examples. A podcast, it's my number one favorite virtual stage because you can control the stage. It's your stage. You can control the frequency. And if you need to get on more stages, you can just rack up as many as you need to by starting your own podcast. But there's other virtual stages as well. There's webinars, there's virtual summits, which are becoming really, really big right now. Social media live. In fact, right now I'm recording this podcast, but I'm live on half a dozen other stages. I'm live on YouTube right now. I'm live on Twitch right now. I'm live on TikTok right now. I'm live on Instagram right now, thanks to my amazing husband who can syndicate and broadcast all this podcasting all over the universe. But I'm on 5, 6 virtual stages right now. You can do virtual conferences, you can do virtual events, you can do virtual summits, you can do virtual coffee and pizza parties. It doesn't matter what it is, but virtual stages are a fantastic way to not only increase your stage count, but by increasing your stage count, you're also increasing your visibility. Pineapple. But by also increasing your stage count, you're also increasing your visibility. And here's the number one thing in business. I was talking to Ryan Pineda about this at one of his events. I asked him, you started in real estate. What took you from real estate to doing live events? And this is what he said. I'm going to repeat it for you because I believe in it wholeheartedly. If nobody knows what you do, you don't have a business. Because if nobody knows what you do, you don't have eyeballs, you don't have leads, and then you don't have customers. And if you don't have customers, you don't have revenue. And if you don't have revenue, you don't have a business. You just have an expensive hobby. So it does not matter what industry you are in. You could be in health and fitness. You could be in nutrition. You could be in dance. You could be in pottery. You could be in glass blowing. Doesn't matter with the industry. If customers are the thing that you want, then stages are the thing that you need to be on. And virtual stages have done amazing things and will do amazing things for your business. And let me share more with you. Okay, skip number 2. Okay, skip number 3. What do you want to mention there? Oh, of our Spotify? Let me share with you what virtual stages have done for me and my company and can and will do for you and your company. Now, we host webinars. We love them. We love connecting with people. In fact, I have a webinar almost pretty much twice a month, if not more. But the biggest virtual stage, digital stage, in other words, that has done amazing things for our business is this. It's our podcast. It gets us visibility on YouTube. It gets us visibility on Spotify. Lots of people listen to it. And here's a really cool thing. Because we record in video for our virtual stages, in addition to audio, as this podcast is listened to by a lot of people in their car, we are in the top 25% of podcasts on Spotify because of our video content. Guys, and our podcast is not worldwide known yet. We do have listeners from all over the world, but I can safely say I'm not stopped in airports. This is not a household name. If you are willing to just record and produce a podcast, your stats can go off the charts because you are willing to do things that 75, 90% of the rest of the population is not willing to do. So don't worry if you don't have a lot of listeners out the gate. Nobody does, but just start. Let's see. Okay. Here's the top 3 reasons you should start getting on not just podcasts, but all kinds of digital stages. Number 1 is global reach. My podcast, my virtual stage, my webinar, my whatever it is, whatever virtual summit you're putting on, it can be consumed all over the world. I was blown away when I went to the Masai Mara in Kenya, and I'm visiting families who live in houses made out of poop and sticks, like literally mud and stick houses, and they've got their phone out. And they're listening to shows. I was absolutely blown away. I was like, where do you charge that thing? But literally, your podcast can be listened to worldwide. I've got listeners in Uganda. I've got listeners in Kenya. I've got listeners all over the world on every single continent. And that's a global reach, which leads me to number 2. I did that for free. Guys, imagine how much you would have had to pay to get broadcast on a channel when TV was brand new. Imagine how much, I mean, we could look this up. People pay millions and millions and millions of dollars for a Super Bowl slot that's 30 seconds long. And you don't have to pay anything to jump on YouTube, get an account, and go live. You don't have to pay anything to get on Spotify and go live there. You don't have to pay anything for your Instagram account. You don't have to pay anything for your Facebook account. You don't have to pay anything for your LinkedIn account. You have network, global reach for free. For absolutely pennies. It's insane to me when people don't take advantage of this. If you want to be broadcast over the world, it's never been easier. Just turn on your camera and go live. Scroll down to number 4 for me. Here's the other thing about virtual events that are absolutely incredible. Not only can you have a global reach and not only can it be free, but it's scalable. If I rent an event center, I am capped at the number of bodies that can fit in that room. Especially if the fire marshal is like, hey, you can only have a certain number of people in here, right? I'm limited on space. Now, you and I would both love to have a full event center. That's something we're going for because in-person events are so crazy powerful. But in between those in-person events, you can be filling unlimited sizes and unlimited numbers of virtual rooms. Now, here's the thing that we judge each other and we judge ourselves on a lot of the time is we go live and we're like, oh my gosh, I only had 1. I only had 2 listeners. I only had 8 listeners. Only 12 people watched my video. I only got 40 views. My Instagram reel only had 127 views. Dude, can you imagine if 127 people came up and knocked on your door and just listened to you for 30 seconds? Imagine if that happened. Don't poo-poo on yourself because your views are so low. In fact, Richard and I don't really count views as part of our business success anyway, because views are incredible and I want them, but views need to lead to action. Views need to lead to a call to action. Followers are great. I love you if you're my follower, but that's not a measurement of my business success because we've generated 6 figures on less than 5,000 followers. Guys, don't be worried about how big or small it is. Just know that your content is getting seen and it's getting out there. And the more content you produce, even and especially if you feel like your views are low, the more credibility you're going to have in the marketplace. Okay. How are we doing on time? I think that feels like a good wrap for a first episode.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, let me do an outro. Yeah. So this is my call to action for you. If you want to get on more stages, you want to be seen by more people, I'm going to give you a challenge. Now, most people are not willing to accept this challenge. And if you are, that puts you in the top single digit percentage of people. And if you're in the top single digit percentage of people, you're also going to experience the success that those people have. Take this on. In fact, leave it in the comments. If you're going to take this on, I want to know. I'm going to give you a challenge to go live 50 times in 14 days. That's multiple times a day. I don't care if you're doing your hair, get ready with me, get unready with me. I don't care if you're sharing your content. I don't care if it's 2 minutes long. Turn on the camera and go live 50 times in the next 14 days. And if you are feeling called like I was with that kick in the butt to start your podcast, I want you to let me know below because we specialize in helping podcasts get launched. This year, we've launched 6 podcasts, and we have a way for you to do the same thing to get your show not only out there and published, but out there and published sustainably and monetized. Thank you for listening on the Marianne Hickman Show, and we will see you in the next episode. I feel like a news anchor. You shock it? Oh, wow. Did we get any comments on social media that we need to respond to? No. Ooh, that's okay. Oh, hey, TikTok. I wonder if TikTok's going to go away. What do you guys think on TikTok? Do you think it's really going anywhere? Or do you think it's all hype? I don't know. We'll see. Wait, go back. I just want to see if there's another episode in the bullet points. How to dominate virtual stages. Prepare like it's live. Tips for creating professional backdrop. Okay, this could be a whole nother segment. Whole nother video. And wait. You're so fast. Okay, go back up. Tips for share a quick story of having solved a virtual tech issue on the fly. Engage the audience. Oh, good. Okay. Q&A sessions, encouraging chat participation. Mention how to balance being a professional, being relatable. Strong CTA, always offer something valuable. Good. Yep. Example. Good. Leverage post-event ops. Okay. This could be a whole nother video there. Wait, go back up. Up. Well, no, I already have enough for another video, so that's what I'm saying. They already did that. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. This is 36. Octave 36. Beautiful. What was that? Oh, that was you. In the message, I'm seeing a chat there. You got all the chat windows open. That's impressive. Beautiful. Pineapple. You started recording, right? Okay. Pineapple. Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. This is Talk Tips number 36. This is how to get the most out of your virtual or digital stages because chances are you want to be a guest on a lot of podcasts. You might be putting on your own summits, and I want those to be successful for you, not only in terms of fulfillment, but in terms of revenue. Check it out. Intro. Okay. Listen, if you've downloaded my podcast database, or maybe even if you haven't, by the way, you can. If you go to mariannehickman.com/database, it's there for you. But chances are you're wanting to get on more stages. Now, if you're wanting to get on more stages, you have a couple of options. There's 4 different kinds of stages. We've been over this quite a bit, but I want to reiterate for them for you. Number 1, there's the physical stages. And within the physical stages realm, there's stages that you own, which means events that you're putting on live in a venue. Or there's owned stage or stages that are owned by other people. I'm speaking at somebody else's event, which is the most common thing that people think of when they're like, I'm a public speaker. I've been invited to speak somewhere else, which is great. But if those are the only events that you're going for, you're missing out on a ton of options and a ton of revenue. So here's the other half. Digital stages. Now, again, there's digital stages that you own, like your own podcast or your own webinar or your own summit. And there's digital stages that other people own, like maybe you're a guest on someone's webinar or you're a guest on their summit or what have you. It's the equivalent of physical and digital stages. However, I don't want you, listen to me right now, I don't want you appearing on any stages, physical or digital stages, unless you know how to convert those stages into customers and therefore into revenue. If you are missing anything that I'm about to share with you, stop applying for stages. Stop applying for podcasts. Stop hosting your own podcast if you don't have what I'm about to share with you. I couldn't stop it. It was just there. Okay. Number 1, getting ready for your digital stages specifically. Pineapple. Number 1, get ready for your own digital stage. Whether you're a guest on someone's or you're owning your own I got to get my spaghetti out of my brain. Pineapple. Number 1 thing that you need to have when you're getting ready to appear on a digital stage specifically. Now, I'm not saying that you need to have thousands of dollars worth of lighting equipment or thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment or thousands of dollars worth of audio equipment. In fact, you can just use your phone in a lot of cases. I've hosted podcasts with people with their earbuds and a mic piece. But if you don't have quality video, you don't have quality lighting, and you don't have quality sound, the host of the podcast is not going to want to air your episode. In fact, I have had, pineapple. In fact, I have had episodes of my podcast where there's bad audio quality or there's really bad lighting or there's so many glitches in the tech that I don't post the episode because all of the glitches and all of the bad quality steals away from the content. Now, I have posted episodes with early tech where my audio and visual equipment wasn't like the best I have now, and it's not the best quality. But listen, I was on a podcast where the earpiece was jiggling and the headphones jack was disconnecting and reconnecting, and the quality was such an assault on my audible senses that I couldn't post the episode. If you appear on someone's podcast and the lighting is so bad that it's not to the quality of their work, they're not going to want to air the show. They're not going to want to have you on your show. In fact, with my students, when I certify them for digital stages by checking their mic, checking to make sure they know how to run a Zoom call, checking to make sure their lighting, it doesn't have to be some beautiful light box. It can just be facing a window. But you've got to look good and sound good on camera. And the reason for that is because I want your message to outshine the equipment. You know the job is done when you don't notice it. So thing number 1 is ensure that you look and sound great on camera. Number 2. Number 2 is engage your audience. Now, this is great for podcasts, but also when you're doing live events, this is especially important for summits and webinars. When I practice with people on my hot seat call in the Mastery Hive every Friday, we do a Zoom call. Now we practice the Zoom call as if that is a real stage. So when I'm on stage in person, I can have the audience stand up. I can have them interact with each other. On Zoom, I can still do interaction, but I need to cater it to the digital stage, which means I'm going to have a lot of people posting in the chat. Post a number 1 if this, post a yes if this, say this word if this, and it's driving engagement in the chat. Tell me where you're from. Tell me why you're here. And I'm interacting with people in the chat. That's the biggest mistake that I see a lot of speakers make is they speak to an audience instead of an individual. Even when you're in front of an audience, even when you have multiple people in front of you, remember, you're just speaking to an individual 100 times. You're just talking to one person times the number of people that are in your room. It's always a one-on-one interaction that everyone else gets to see. That's how I want you to think about your stage. So engage with your audience. Do activities with them. Ask them to raise their hand. And most importantly, when you're on a digital call, ask them to turn their cameras on. Have them be present in the room. If they're doing something that doesn't merit their camera being on, tell them to fix it and get present with you, okay? Engage with your audience because we don't want to waste anybody's time, yours or theirs. Now, let's see. Hey, can you scroll to number 3? Now, the next 2 are the most important elements. The first 2 are important as well, but again, this is the linchpin. This is the thing. If you don't have it, stop applying for stages. And this is a call to action. A call to action can take a couple of different forms. It can be a free call to action, meaning they don't have to pay anything to take action, and it can be a paid call to action. When do you do it? Well, you can do a paid call to action most easily when it's a stage that you own. Other than that, you're likely part of a stage that has a separate paid call to action, and they won't allow it. And even if they did, you shouldn't do it because a confused mind doesn't buy. Audience members don't know where to go if there's 2 paid call to action. It's going to sabotage everybody's results, the audience included. So only do paid call to actions most often if it's a stage that you own. Free call to actions are my favorite. And a lot of times I waive my personal speaking fee if I am allowed to do a free call to action. This is what this looks like. When you have a resource guide that is specifically custom tailored built to bring your audience to what they want, and then now it becomes a guide that you can give away. I'll give you some examples. My number 1 most fruitful call to action is my podcast database. It's the free database that I give away because I know my audience wants to get on more stages. In fact, you can have it. You go to mariannehickman.com/database. Boom, you get access to the entire list of over 800 shows that are all looking for guests, and all of them have agreed not to charge for it on top of that. So that's a resource that I give away, and I get hundreds of leads a week from giving away this resource. And when I'm in the right room where this is the resource that the audience wants, I give that away. I've been on other podcasts where that's not necessarily the resource that the audience wants. I was on a podcast about business and family harmony, and I created a 1-page resource that I gave away on that show, my 5 key tips to creating harmony as a working and career parent. And I gave that away. When you give this away, here's what you're going to do. You give it away not as here's the PDF. No, you're giving it away behind a form. And that form is where the members of your audience, they fill in their name, their email, and their phone number. And then you have not only a place to deliver what you promised, maybe it's a huge PDF that you just need to deliver so they can download it, but you also now have their information. And what's cool about that is you have the people's information who already like what you have. Otherwise, they wouldn't have opted into your information anyway. When you're building your list, when you're building your database, this is one of the most valuable resources that's a part of any company at all. If you were out to go out there and buy a business, you would want to know how many existing or previous customers they had because that's where the revenue comes from. So if you don't have a call to action that is behind a form for a name, email, and phone number, stop everything and get it, build it. In fact, if you and I spend 90 minutes together, we can build the thing, downloadable, graphics done in less than 90 minutes. That's what I do to help people. And then here's the step number 4 beyond that. Once you give your stuff away, you may just give it away and that's what they want and they take it and they run with it. If that's the case, awesome, because you're not meant to help everybody as a customer. Sometimes you just deliver value. Sometimes you need 7, 21, 30 touches with a member of your audience before they say, okay, you've fed me enough. Now I'm really hungry and I know that your food is good. So feed me more, right? Now your customers are saying, this was great, but how do I get more? This is great, but how do I learn more from you? This is great, but how do I learn faster? Those are the right people to bring into your universe as customers. And you won't be able to know who they are if you don't keep feeding them. So number 4 is follow up. Follow up with emails. Nurture them, deliver free value, give stuff away, give tips, give tricks, all these things. And people are really shy to, oh, am I going to subscribe to another newsletter? If the newsletter is actually helpful to you all day long, I have subscriptions that I've canceled, and then I have subscriptions where I'm opening up every single email because I'm fascinated by the content and it helps me and it helps my business. And when you speak to your customers in a way that solves their pain, that's what you're going to get. So I almost said scroll. So make sure that you're nurturing them with emails and helpful text messages. Go ahead and scroll for me. And scroll a little bit more. Okay, great. The reason I'm telling you this is because I do this myself. In fact, I've found that some of the best platforms have been really surprising. Take Threads, for example. I accidentally posted on Threads. Okay. I was making a Facebook post and Meta cross posted it for me. And on that post, it was a simple call to action. I'm using this platform as a version of a digital stage. Now, I've shown up on this digital stage several hundreds of, maybe probably thousands, tens of thousands of times with previous live videos, posts, content. And then I did a call to action post where I said, hey, listen, if you want my podcast database, just leave me a comment below. The Facebook post had, 20, 30 comments, which was great. Then Threads, I had 42 followers. I got 10 comments, 20 comments, 50 comments, 100 comments. Ultimately, that post had over 700 comments. Half of them were my responses to those people. But still, cut that in half. It's 350 comments from brand new people that are part of my universe that are saying yes to what I have and that I'm giving it to them. Never underestimate the power of your call to action. And to take this to the next level, think about this. If you have 350 people, even if you have 30 people that are commenting and saying, yes, I want your stuff, and you have to hand deliver that to them in hand delivered emails, and you're by hand keeping a spreadsheet of your customer's data with their customer's name, email, and phone number, you are in the archaic version of your business. In fact, I wouldn't even say that you have a business. You have an expensive hobby. You might have an LLC set up. You might be being asked to speak on stages. But if you don't have a customer relationship management software, or in other words, a CRM, then you've got to fix that, because your time is going to be wasted in the busy work of business when a machine can do it for you better and faster than you can, by the way. If you don't have a CRM yet, what's the link that I can verbally say? Okay. If you don't have a machine fulfilling this for you yet, I want to give you ours. Go to peaked.consulting, Piqued, as in piqued interest, peaked.consulting. We'll put it in the show notes for you. We've got 2 weeks free for you to use the machine that can deliver your products for you, keep track of all your customers, be your point of sale, even post on social media for you. Guys, if you don't have a CRM, you don't have a business. And even if you do have a CRM, I'm willing to bet that you're overpaying if you're not using the one that we're using. Check it out. Go look at that website. But regardless of which one you use, whether it's ours or somebody else's, you need a piece of software that's going to back you up and work while you're sleeping. Yesterday, Richard and I were at the gym. We're sitting there doing chest flies. And right as soon as I got off the machine, I checked my phone. Richard checked his phone at the same time, logging his reps. And we had an appointment booked on our calendar that we did not even have to touch. The system was built for us. Well, built for me. You built it. Richard built that thing. But this entire system not only gave the stuff away, it also followed up with an email, followed up via text, and created a calendar appointment on our calendar and on the prospect's calendar. And now we have a meeting set up that we didn't have to call out and schedule. Trust me, I have run a sales floor with multiple millions, tens of millions of dollars, and this sales floor would have 10x. I have no doubt if it had this kind of software backing it up. You don't want to start your business without it. So check it out. Again, regardless of which one you're using, you've got to have some piece of tech backing you up. In fact, we give this tech to all of our students. We've had student after student after student come up to us and say, oh my gosh, I don't know how I would have done this without this backup with the software. I've got one of our students, Renee. She just started her business last year, and we started literally on spreadsheets and Google Forms. Very quickly, we learned after she did her first podcast appearance and she needed to hand deliver something to 12 different people, through email, she's like, "This is not where I wanna spend my time. I wanna spend my time making money on stage, not on the back end doing the tech stuff." We started her progress. Got an itch in my nose. Pineapple. We started operating pineapple. We started operating her CRM. We set everything up for her on the back end, and she got almost a new client every single week for about 6 weeks of the year. And she's still getting new clients because now she can go out and give away all of her free resources. People say yes to that, and she doesn't have to sit there behind an email or a computer and hand deliver everything. That's all happening for her. And now she's starting a 30-day challenge where she's launching a brand new product for her people. And that's all built out on the back end. It's hosted. She's hosting videos there. People can opt in. They can even buy stuff as an upsell. Guys, you want this running for you. You want this running so you don't have an expensive business. Sorry. Ugh. You want this running for you so you don't have just a hobby. You have a profitable business. And the way you get profitable, it's just like those video games. You ever played those video games where it's like lemonade stand, where you like do this and then you make money and then you have to do these 5 other things, but you can't get back to the register because you need to like pick the lemons and you need to juice them in the register and people are just waiting there. And then you upgrade in the game because you hire someone to do that for you. This is the same thing, except you're hiring a machine that doesn't go to sleep. You're hiring a machine that then book things while you are spending the time that you value so much, doing the things that you love, taking care of your family, going to the gym, serving your clients. Make sure that you're using a piece of technology that can back you up and do the heavy lifting for you. That's it for this episode of Talk Tips. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you on stage. Do you like these little clippy things? Wait, you didn't even see what I was asking. So cool. Hi, we're actually between episodes right now. My mouth is getting dry. We're recording some talk tips for the podcast. So if you're joining us live on any of our social platforms, what's up? Make sure you subscribe to the podcast because we are talking all about how to get you making money from stage. And if you don't have a CRM, by the way, go to peaked.consulting, Piqued .consulting. You can get a 14-day free look at the back end of business. And if you don't have a CRM, you should get one. Doesn't matter if it's ours or not, but you need to be operating. If you don't know what a CRM is, it's a customer relationship management software. This is the thing that sends your emails for you. It's the thing that keeps track of all of your clients for you. It's the things that send out text messages for you. Every company that's a legitimate company has one. And if you don't have one, you just have an expensive hobby. So get real with business and get your CRM up and running. Okay, how to transition your audience from what to what now? From passive listeners to active clients. Okay. I'm not feeling inspired though, this one. Wait. I don't want you to speed through it though. I'm gonna. Oh well, can I read the rest of it just in case? That's just not something that people say, you know. But maybe there's a gold nugget in there I can expand off of. Okay, keep going. What if I told you your audience isn't just there to listen, they're able to take action? Personal connection, speaking engagement, transition the audience to take action, how to transform a speaking career. Secret to turning past. Okay, keep going. Most speakers finish their presentation and leave the audience inspired without a clear next step. Okay, that's true. Wait. That's true. Weak calls to action. I feel like I've already done one on a call to action, but I could do another one on a call to action.
No.
Wait. Okay. Inspiration versus transformation. Win-win-win. Benefits the speaker. Client connections. Okay, scroll. Benefits the audience, solving their problems and gaining clarity. Benefits the organizers. Okay, I'm not really finding anything in there. Okay, what is the problem your audience came to solve and how can you help them solve it? What was the podcast we were just listening to? Oh, no, it was a book I was reading. It was actually the launch book about actually serving your audience. I could do an episode on that. Okay, highlight the importance of authenticity and value delivery. Okay. Okay. I got it. I think so. 37?
37.
Okay. I would say that speaking to a camera is harder than speaking to an audience. Most people have stage fright because they're afraid of the audience's judgment or interaction or whatever. But speaking to a camera, I feel is way harder because it doesn't interact with me. I'm like, hey, box with a lens in it. Are you enjoying this? That's why I'm glad we're live. Well, thank you. I had my old producer tell me, Marianne, you just don't have it. Some people have what it takes and you just don't. It blew me away. I was pissed. Really pissed. Okay, this one is on, let me get centered again. Okay, solving the actual problems of the audience. Good. 37. Okay. Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. This is episode 80. Hold on, go back. Pineapple. Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. This is Talk Tips number 37, how to actually grow a business based on what your audience wants. You might be surprised at what you find on this one. Check it out. Okay. Imagine that you go to your favorite restaurant. If you know me, you know I love Cheesecake Factory. That's where Richard and I go on our regular date night. I'm so glad that we found a place that we like to go to regularly. So you go to your favorite restaurant and you place your order. For me, I like the Thai chicken tacos, the ones that are like in a lettuce bowl right there and the chicken in there and it's got the sesame seeds on top. Super good. Imagine ordering your favorite dish and then something else comes out. It's completely different. If I had ordered these amazing little tacos and they brought me like steak and mashed potatoes, they could be like, oh my gosh, these steak and mashed potatoes are so good. I know that we put the A1 sauce on there and we got the best potatoes from Idaho and we made the best gravy from our own blah, 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 blah. And they're telling me all these amazing benefits of the steak and mashed potatoes. And I'm sitting there like, where's my tacos? This is not what I ordered. If you start a business, the same thing can happen to your clients. Here's why. When you start a business, you come to the table with all of these levels of expertise, all of these things that you're good at. You're good at this. You're good at this. You enjoy doing this. This is why you started a business in the first place, because you have some level of credibility. You have some level of expertise and you're bringing it to the table. And you're like, oh my gosh, so there's people that can benefit from this. And I think I can make money doing this. It's why we're becoming entrepreneurs, right? Maybe on top of that, you're feeling the stress and strain of working a 9 to 5 and requesting your time from somebody else, which is the craziest feeling in the world. I don't know about you, but I was chafing underneath that. And then you start this other company, you've got all these great ideas. Maybe you even start recording videos and you start creating e-courses and you start hosting webinars, you start producing content, and no bites. Nobody wants it. Here's what's happening. You are giving your audience something that's of value, but it's not what your audience wants. So how do you avoid this? Well, I'm going to share a lot of principles with you from Jeff Walker's book, Launch. There's going to be a link to it in the show notes of this video because I love this book. I recommend it to everybody that's launching products or even launching a business or even wants to do that. The coolest part about figuring this out is it turns you from this wannabe entrepreneur into someone that can have a thriving business even before your follower count is high, like in the millions. You don't have to have millions of followers to serve the right people. So here's how you do it. Number one, you've got to poll the audience, POLL. Ask your audience what they want. Before you do that, you really got to define your expertise. But I'm going to assume that you're coming to the table with some level of expertise or brilliance that you have accrued some credibility in. You're coming to the table with that. Now, I need to ask my audience what their pain point is, ask what their hurdles are. So I'm constantly doing this still. I'm always polling my audience. I can't think of a world where I'm not interviewing my audience and seeing what they need. And you can do this today. In fact, I was just on the phone with one of our members of our community yesterday on a Zoom call, and he was showing me all the really cool things that he could do with tech and with engaging webinars. And I asked him, what's causing you to be invisible? And the number one response that he gave me is that nobody knows what I do. And I said, well, how do we fix that? I can't just throw steak and potatoes at them and then hope that they want it. I need to ask the audience exactly what they want. Think about it. When you go to a restaurant, what's the first thing that you do after you sit down? You're going to open up the menu and you're going to think about, what do I want? And rewind. Think about even before you went out to eat, when you're getting ready, you've got something in your mind. I could really go for this. I could really go for a meal that's served to me, even if you're not specific with the kind of meal you want to order. But I want something. That's why I left the house. I got in my car. I drove to a restaurant because I want something. Now I need to get clear on what I want. Now that I've got the menu in my hand, the server is not going to come to the table with my entree. They're going to come with bread, but they're not going to come to the table with my entree because they don't know what I want. You as a business owner, follow suit. Don't start creating courses, filming materials, or charging for things if you don't know if it's what your audience wants or not. You've got to find out. So here's your homework assignment right now. I want you to go on social media with your expertise in the back of your mind and ask your audience where they're struggling with it. Let me give you a couple of examples. I've got one of my members that helps people get healthier. So she's going to ask the audience, what is the hardest part about wintertime and illness? That could be one thing. Or how long have you been dealing with this headache? She's going to speak to not only what her audience wants, but something that she can fix, right? So if I'm in the health and fitness industry, I'm going to go out and ask my audience, if I could wave a magic wand today, how many pounds would you want to lose? If I go out into my audience and I'm an expert in public speaking, I'm going to say, how many stages did you want to get on this year? And how many did you actually get on? How much revenue did you want to make with your company this year versus how much did you make? What's the number one bottleneck in building your business right now? How many people do you have on your email list? And if you don't know what an email list is, leave a comment below. If I'm in what's another industry? If I'm in the art industry and I make murals for people, right? You say, what's been the biggest holdback for you in actually putting paint on your canvas? Why aren't you creating art? Is it because you think you have to be a starving artist and you don't feel like there's a career in art? Let me show you why that's wrong. So you're going to ask your audience with your expertise in mind, what is the number one thing, if you could wave a magic wand and get it fixed right now, what would it be? And then you're going to learn about your audience. And then you're going to find more questions that you can ask as follow-ups based on their responses and dig and interview and understand. And only then do you start creating solutions, because your job is to not carve a hole in the marketplace and then fill it. Your job is to find the existing holes in the marketplace and then create solutions based on your level of expertise. Here's the other thing that you need to do, and here's what I need to do. Start over that. Pineapple. In fact, every time I start a Zoom call, I run multiple Zoom calls every week. I think I have 5 or 6 different Zoom meetings that I host for my members and members of other communities every single week. Before I lean into my content, before I have my PowerPoint displayed on the screen, I ask my audience, what do you hope to get out of our time together today? Ask Richard every time he's been on a call, and any call I've been on, whether it's for myself or somebody else. In fact, I do this on stage as well. I open up entire events based on this. What do you hope to get out of your time here? And then I make them measure it. If people say, oh, I want more financial freedom, I say, how will you know when you've gotten it? If people say, I want more connections, how will you know when you've gotten it? A lot of times people will come to the event with the hope of a feeling. And then what I do is I break down that feeling into what can you do before the hour is over? What can you do before the end of the event? If you want more connections, if you want to network with more people, what can you do before the end of the event? Well, you can get 5 phone numbers. Well, if you want to get on more stages, what can you do before the event? First, we need to know how many. I want 10 more stages before the end of the event. Now I know how to cater my content, which means a lot of times, and you'll do this when you're super advanced as a speaker, you will throw your PowerPoint out. You will not even share what you prepared because what you prepared is not what the audience needs. You prepared steak and potatoes, but the audience came for Thai tacos. And if you can be that person, if you can say, screw what I've prepared, I'm here to show up and serve you, that's when you have a thriving business. When you listen to the feedback of your audience, not only in the social media posts that you've created, but also live when they come to the room, when they're in your space, ask, what did you come here for? And what do you need? Because if I can't provide it for you, I'm sure as heck going to find a resource that can. And that's when you build that know, like, and trust factor. And that's when you have a thriving business. I know it sounds overly simple, but any business that you can possibly think of was built on solving problems. Okay. Okay, will you scroll for me? Okay, keep scrolling. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you, if you're listening to this podcast episode and you're wondering, oh my gosh, I've got to get to the next step in business. I've got to identify where, I've got this big goal ahead of me. I want to make $1 million in my business, or maybe my first year in business. I want to make 6 figures in my business. I want to know how to get on more stages. I want to know how to deliver my message in a powerful way. I have a strong calling inside of me that I know needs to get out there to the world, but I don't know how to do X, Y, Z. I want you to drop it in the comments. If you're listening on YouTube, drop in the comments. You can text me 801-509-5495. Gosh, if you're driving right now, gosh, when you're done, go back and rewind and write down that phone number and put it in your phone and send me a text message and ask me a question, because the most powerful questions, pineapple, go back. Let me go back and reword this differently. So I want to know from you. You hopped on this podcast. If you're listening, you have completed this episode of this podcast. I want to know from you specifically, what do you need next in order to get to your goal? The more powerful your questions are crafted, the faster your results are going to get to you. So if your goal is to speak on stage, if your goal is to bring in revenue to your business, if your goal is to have a really high functioning CRM behind you that operates while you're sleeping, that's where we come in and that's where we help. And I want to know what you feel like you need the most help with. So I want you to text me. If you're driving right now and you're listening to this, when you stop and get to your destination, go back and re-listen to the last minute of this episode so you can get my phone number. It's in the comments too, 801-509-5495. And I want you to text me your most powerful question. And the question, if you had the answer to it, you would 10x your income. I want to hear it from you. And because I want to show up and serve you, I'll record an episode especially for you when I get your powerful questions. So text that number, 801-509-5495, and ask the questions. You can get the answer that will take your results to the next level. And we'll see you in the next episode. Did the table need a pat on the back? Oh,
Before I touch the camera, so I don't.
That's too funny. What did it do? Oh, really? Wow, you're so powerful. How many are we shooting to record? Give me one more. Oh, thank you. I love, love, love doing these when my face is getting tired. It's like a workout, like doing pull-ups with my face. Okay, overcoming the fear of selling from stage without feeling salesy. Let's look at this outline real quick here. Okay, hesitated to sell from stage. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. It's juicy. Didn't want to feel pushy or salesy. Share a quick story. Selling from the stage. Salesy. Thesis statement. Let's see. Good. Why selling from stage is critical. Real purpose of speaking. Speaking is about transformation. Breaking the stigma of selling. Service is selling. Service is selling. cost of not selling. Okay, build trust through connection, personal stories. Audience knows you've been in their shoes. They'll trust you to get them out. Okay. Frame selling as a service. Okay. Yeah, this is a good one. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the top. I think I got what I need. Okay. Talk tip 38, right? Thank you. I could hear that. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm
You're just so powerful. But it does when you're so full of static? Wow. Gary Vee says you should go live with whatever you do. That's why we're here today. I moved it when I relaxed. How long have we been filming for? Okay. I'm getting a feel for my speaker fatigue for when my face gets tired and I need to pee and I need a drink, my bio response. I'm going to put some more lip gloss on just for you. Oop. This is probably like petroleum. What time do we need to leave for shopping? Okay, sweet burrito. Okay. 38, did you say? Okay. Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. This is Talk Tips number 38. This is all about how to sell from stage. Now, I know when I say that word, a lot of us get this stomach in our knots and we cringe in that because no one wakes up in the morning and wants to be sold to. We're going to tackle that in this episode. Check it out. Intro. All right, let's talk about how to sell from stage without sounding salesy. Nobody wakes up in the morning and takes and like, oh my gosh, I hope I get a telemarketer calling me today and shoving a product down my throat that I actually don't need. Guys, service and selling, when you do selling right, they are the same thing. I've seen like so many hokey videos online about sales is service and service is selling and blah, 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 blah. But the truth is, when you find a product that you love, you feel better off having spent the money on that thing. Now, when we have hiccups or issues with this, or we feel icky about it, it's because internally we're still working with unresolved issues around sometimes it's money, sometimes it's confidence, sometimes it's our product. However, when it feels very, very natural, you know you're on the right track. Let me give you an example. I was online yesterday and I was scrolling through social media. I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw this post. Oh my gosh, I'm about to throw some people under the bus. I apologize in advance, but you got to hear this feedback. So I was online and I saw this post that says, don't go see this movie. It's awful, right? And then I was like, oh my gosh, which movie is it? And it was a movie that I had seen. And I was like, you know what? I totally agree. And then later on, there was this other post that said, you have to go see this movie. It's so good. In fact, if I were to recommend a movie to you that I absolutely loved, do you remember the last movie we saw in theaters, Richard, that I was like leaning forward in my seat and I was like, we can watch this 5 times. It's so awesome. When we saw Top Gun 2. Was it 3? No, it was 2. It was Top Gun 2. Yeah, I was like raving about this movie. Now I'm a pilot. I love this movie. There were some like unrealistic parts of it, but the adventure of it was so good. I was leaning forward in my seat and like, I can't believe this movie was so awesome. Everyone should go see it, blah, blah, blah. And it was so easy for me to talk about this movie because I loved it so much. Did you get that hint drop right there? Did you get that big clue? When you love something so much that it's as easy to talk about as it is your favorite movie, then that's when you're selling. I'm selling people on going and seeing this movie. I'm saying you should go. In fact, I'll go with you. Let's go see this movie together. And when I'm saying, hey, you shouldn't go see this movie, it was awful, it was terrible, it was so incoherent, there were so many things that popped up, I'm also selling. I'm saying don't go see this movie. What I'm doing in both scenarios is I'm pitching an idea. And that's all sales is. And guess what? You've been doing sales since the day you were born. Absolutely serious. You've been pitching ideas. When I had my baby 2 years ago, his first sales pitch to me was to feed the kid. And he made my life so much happier after I fed him because the crying stopped and the wailing stopped and he was so much more comfortable and he was happier, which made me happier. I was sold on this idea of feeding my kid. Now, I know that seems a little bit detached and overly simplistic, but that's the reality of it. Our kids are selling us all the time. If you have kids, you know this. They make pitches to you as a mom, and then they make pitches to you as a dad, and you better hope that mom and dad have talked to each other because that kid's going to win. They know how to do the pitch. They know how to put the puppy dog eyes on, and they know how to sell this thing. Your lives are going to be so much easier. I really want this thing. The whining will stop when this happens, right? Sales really is selling something that you believe in. So tip number one, when it's time to sell, you better believe in what you're selling. If you're on a sales floor and you don't believe in the product that you're selling, I guarantee your closing ratio will be much smaller compared to the sales reps that are next to you that actually believe in what they're selling. When I ran a multi-million dollar sales floor, I was a consumer of the product. That's why I was continually, when I was taking leads, instead of like in the management level, not taking leads, every time consistently, when I was taking leads and I was doing the selling, I was in the top 3, if not the top salesperson, because I was a consumer and a user of the product. And it made it so easy to sell because I was a living, walking testimonial of it. When I got on stage and represented the product there, I was the most successful in my sales because we had the know, like, and trust factor. I knew, liked, and trusted the product, and I had amazing conversions because of that trust factor. That's when you know that you really, go back. Will you go back or scroll on that? Okay, stop. Okay, go down a little bit more. Okay, scroll a little bit more. I'm looking for a specific line. Okay. So first of all, you have to believe in your product. I already said that. Let's see. Number 2, sometimes you believe in your product. You love your product, especially when you're speaking and you're representing yourself and you're about to do a hard pitch from stage. A hard pitch is when you charge for your product from stage instead of doing a soft pitch, which is giving away something free that may eventually lead to your product. When you're selling the right thing, you'll know because you believe in it and because you've used it. That's integrity for me. I can't really sell anything I haven't used and I don't believe in. So that's thing number 1. But number 2, let's just say that you do love your product, you know your product, you believe in your product, you're a user of your product, but you're not getting conversions. This might be because it's not the natural next step for your audience. When you're pitching from stage, your call to action should not only solve the client's problems, it should be solving their pain point as well and be something that you know how to do, but it should fall sequentially, naturally in the next step of the client's timeline. Let me give you an example. Let's just say that you're single and you're dating. I hated that part of my life. It was really, really hard. And there were so many, swiping, and there were so many dates and things that were, I have to sneeze. Ugh. Okay. I'm going to give you an example of you go back and erase this. Pineapple. No. That's just this number 2 segment. Yeah, I need to start over on number 2. Number 2, you might have a product that you believe in wholeheartedly. You're a user of the product. You're a walking testimonial of the product. And yet, when you get on stage and it's time to pitch, nothing happens. Now, what's going on? You know your product, you like your product, you use your product, you're a walking testimonial of your product. If you're not converting, chances are it's not because the product isn't good. It's not because even the audience doesn't want it, but because it's not a natural next step for your audience. Let me give you an example from a real life experience of mine. I'm going to tell you about one of my worst first dates. Didn't lead to a second date. I was single, dating, Utah County, a recipe for not fun. And I was on lots of different apps. I was swiping on Bumble one time and I came across this profile and it was time for our first date. Now, we met at like a little ice cream shop down in some small city down in southern Utah County. And when I got to this ice cream shop, the dude was there waiting for me. And I was like, cool. But he came to my door of my car and kind of shocked me. I was like, well, okay, whoa, okay, that's a little much there. Opened my door. We went inside. I barely had time to get my seatbelt off. And then we're sitting down and eating. And I'm eating my ice cream and I'm listening to this person. He's talking about his life and he's talking about his history and he's talking about his ex-wife and he's talking about all these things. And he's leaning in really hard, like wanting to take it to the next level really, really fast. And you better believe I was backing off. I was like, this is too much, too soon. You might be a nice guy, but I don't think I want to pursue this next level of relationship with you. Imagine going on a first date and the dude asking for the second date, the first moment you meet. You walk into the first date and he's like, hey, I'm so excited for our second date. And whoa, back off. No, I'm not ready for that level yet. Totally will sabotage your results. If you are too aggressive with shoving what you think your client needs down their throat before they're ready, they're going to back away from you, which is really unfortunate because what you have might actually serve them, but it's too soon in the timeline. We need to develop more of a relationship. We need to develop more trust. That date would have gone way better if he had asked me about myself and what I need and what I'm hoping for and what my goals are in life, and then see if it naturally leads to a desire for a second date. If you're on stage and you're pitching and you're like, hey, I know we just met. I have a $10,000 course. It'll do this, this, and this for you. Your clients will be so disinterested. So far from interested. Now, guys, I have $10,000 products. I have $30,000 products, but I don't lead with that because I don't know if it's what my client needs. If I have a client that says, hey, what are the prices for your products? I'm going to tell them, hey, I have products that range from $500 up to $30,000, but I don't know which one to talk about with you because I don't know enough about you. I don't know which one you need. And when you're speaking on stage, it's the same thing. This is why in my last talk tips, I said, you got to learn about what your client needs first before you represent options to them, before you pitch anything from stage. If you have a low closing percentage, you might be going too far down your dating timeline, which is why when you're pitching from stage, make sure it's a natural next step for your audience. I'm going to say that again. The natural next step for your audience, the thing that they need next. If you're talking on stage like I do, and maybe you're saying, hey, listen, I'm going to talk to you about how to make money from stage. This is how you do it. This is how you get more stages. This is how you turn those stages into revenue. This is this, this is this, this is this. Listen to the questions that you get at your presentation. Listen to the questions that say, well, how do I get more stages? How do I convert those stages? How do I do this thing? Then my product is going to answer those questions. My call to action is going to answer those questions. But what do I do next? That's when you know that it's time to pitch that next level. That call to action should fit the questions and answer the questions that come at the end of your keynote, which means you might do several keynotes before you design a product. Every keynote should have a call to action, by the way. Listen up. Every single keynote should have a call to action, even if that call to action is send me a message on Instagram, send me a message on LinkedIn, put your email in for a newsletter, whatever the case may be. You want to bring your audience with you because listen, if you don't do a call to action at the end of your keynote, you are ripping yourself off, you're robbing your business, and you're robbing your audience. Because if you do a really good job doing your keynote and the audience is leaning in, physically leaning forward, they want more from you. And if you don't provide a way for your audience to get more from you, then they're left without. I have had several keynotes that I have gone in and listened to, and I think, oh my gosh, how can I get more of this? How can I spend more time with you? And if they don't do a call to action, I don't have a way to do that. And now we probably won't do business together. Chances are we'll probably never see each other again. This is why I want you to have a call to action. So if you want to eliminate this cringy, super salesy feelings, just as a recap, here's a rule. Number 1, know, like, and trust your own product. Believe in what you do. Be a walking testimonial. This is just integrity in sales. If you don't believe in what you're doing, or even more so, if you've never done what you're teaching people how to do, then don't sell it because you are not being an honest, hold on, pineapple. If you're not a walking testimonial of what you do, or in other words, if you haven't practiced what you preach, then you should not be on stage. Number 2, make sure that is a natural next step for your audience. Don't ask to sleep with them on the first date. In other words, you want to give them the natural next step. Whatever it is they're asking for, that's a hint for your call to action. And number 3, is have the systems that can deliver on what you promise. Once you get your call to action on stage, you need something, whether it's you manually emailing them or you have a computer doing it for you through your CRM, have the ability to deliver on what you promised and more. Because when you give more than you ask, that is more than anything else going to create a trust between you and your potential clients. And when you have that level of trust, that's where the clients are made. And when you have clients, that's when you have revenue for your business. So send me your questions below. I want you to text me 801-509-5495. If you're driving, get pulled over and go back and listen for that phone number. Send me your questions. I want to know what you need to get your speaking business to the next level, and we will see you in the next episode. My nose, that's great. All right. Oh, that's so funny. TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube. Welcome. And I'm signing off. So all these episodes have been recorded. They will drop. When do we drop our talk tips? Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you go to Marianne Hickman Show on your favorite podcast platform, go ahead and check that out. Subscribe, and you're going to get these episodes dropped for you. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we drop our talk tips. Sundays, we release our interview episodes. And we just released an episode on Sunday with our 2024 recap. You're going to want to check